Hey, welcome back to Collector Level and collectorlevel.com. Back with another video as promised for Spider-Man Far From Home, Mysterio figure by Hot Toys, MMS 556.
Mysterio?
What?
Doesn't matter. It's just what my friends have been calling you.
Well, you can call me Quentin. But you handled yourself well out there today. Saw what you did with the tower. We could use someone like you on my world.
Thanks.
So we're going to start off with the slipcover and box design. Fantastic. Again, carrying on the Spider-Man Far From Home slipcover design with the Mysterio window, kind of the clouded window that Mysterio has on his helmet as kind of a window into the box of the figure. And here it is. All right, and here we have the clamshell completely removed from the box. As we turn around here, you will be able to see the back of the cape, which is slipped through so that it does not become damaged or wrinkled or anything like that during either shipment or storage. Right now we're going to break this open and take a look at all the accessories that Mysterio comes with. Okay, here we go. We have all of Mysterio's accessories out of the box, and we'll go through those. He has a waist grabber, a flexible dynamic stand that inserts into the base. Really nice looking base with the Mysterio placard across the front. We have the Jake Gyllenhaal unhelmeted face sculpt, and we'll get a closer look at that in just a second. Also, we have two tabs that can be inserted into the collar piece if you take the cape off. We have two open hands, two fist hands. We have some effects that he can insert into his hands, and those are imprinted with the Illuminati eye symbol on them. And then finally, in the center there is his smoke effects. And those are all the accessories that come with Mysterio. So zoomed in here a bit, I want to show you all something that maybe you're not all familiar with. It is the cape, and sometimes figures come with wired parts inside the cape that allow you to make the posing a little bit more dynamic, to actually give them some movement and some flow. And out of the box, this is not something that I've ever had an issue with before, with a cape or with even another part of any figure, but the seam, the hem at the bottom of the cape was damaged. So I had to make a quick repair, and I guess that, you know, over time that this is bound to happen. I think that some defects would be appropriate for you to contact the person that you bought it from or the distributor and find a solution for either a replacement part or, you know, some kind of solution to repair the piece or whatever it is. But in this case, I was able to kind of inspect the way that the hem was done, and I just took some super glue and was able to fold it back to where it was supposed to be to hold the wire in, and it's good as new. So sometimes it's just as simple as, you know, using some super glue. All right, here we have Mysterio himself completely out of the box. Have him just standing freely without the base and pole. He's bouncing really well. Great figure. I believe he's going to be a great poser, this one. And I mean that in a good way. So here we have the Jake Gyllenhaal, Quentin Beck Mysterio head sculpt. As I alluded to in episode 1, this was not initially um, advertised as being part of this figure, and I still pre-ordered it anyway. I kind of thought maybe I would take my hand at making my own sculpt, or maybe finding another sculpt from another figure to be able to put on this figure if I wanted to have the Mysterio helmet off. He does have it off a considerable amount of time during Far From Home in his scenes, and so I thought this this needs to be part of the display for this figure. But luckily, Hot Toys kind of came to their senses, and I don't know if it was always their plan and they just were kind of doing it on the side, or not sure if they could do it well enough and didn't want to overpromise and underdeliver. But in this case, they came through, and they really did a great job. I think that this is pretty much in all angles, to my eye, this is 100%, if not 99%. I'm sure that there's some improvement that could have been made here. But I'm going to show you something real quick that's not part of this figure. And as I said, I was really wanting to be able to have a Quentin Beck unhelmeted head sculpt for my display. So I'm going to show you something that I was working on in the meantime, between the time that I ordered the figure and the delivery time. So here we go.
I mean, if I'm gonna be the next Iron Man, I need to save the world from an Avengers level threat.
But when its new savior descends, all those casualties will be forgotten.
All right, so while the pros over at Hot Toys are definitely much better than I at making head sculpts, and I'm not trying to take credit for having made this entire head sculpt. I just found this, maybe it was on eBay, I'm not exactly sure. At this point, I've had it for several months. It could be another place. I'll try to look that up and maybe put a link to that in the video. But I got this head sculpt, and I also got some putty, some sculpting epoxy putty, and I did the beard and the mustache and the additions to the hair. I tried to match some of the textures, and I am going to do some more to the hair because it needs to be a little bit wider above the ears, and maybe some other places that I need to add some bulk to it. But this is kind of something that we're also up to here at Collector Level, trying to do little improvements that we can successfully pull off for our figures, and parts of dioramas, and adding extra head sculpts. The reason that I really wanted to do this is that I want to make the outfit that he wears, kind of the mocap suit at the end of the movie, or even toward the middle of the movie, where it's revealed that he is actually just kind of generating all of the effects. And I wanted to be able to put this on the Mysterio figure, not knowing that Hot Toys was actually going to supply one. But in addition, I want to make the mocap suit, and I hope that some professionals, some actual professionals, do supply us with this. And I'm not done painting this, by the way. I am going to match things and make the hair a little bit darker, and blend highlights in it. But back to what I was saying, I hope that a professional actually does make a mocap suit, because I'm not exactly sure how I'm gonna do that. I do have a grayish bodysuit that I'm thinking about using some puff paint on to kind of simulate the design that was on the mocap suit that he was wearing. The other thing, I'm not really 100% sure how I'm going to do it, but I want to build the other dome that he was kind of using as his control center, you know. So anyway, anybody's got any suggestions on how to do that, or knows where that exists already, you know, please leave that in the comments. All right, here we have Mysterio in a nice little pose that I did use with the assistance of the stand. Maybe not in the traditional way. He's not actually standing up on it, but I used the dynamic bent pole to kind of hold him and then bent it forward. And I'm kind of using the back of the stand as a tripod. So his 2 feet and then the base of the stand, and he's forward off of the base. So at the bottom here, we've got the smoke effects, and then I've got the power Illuminati triangles props in his hands. Use the open hands, and those props just kind of fit on there. They just kind of hang on there. So he's kind of moving forward a little bit, kind of pushing that power forward. It's got a little motion in the cape. I think it looks real nice. I think that this is a good pose. All right, here we have another figure we've brought in just to show some layers here with Mysterio, and we've brought in Spider-Man or Peter Parker in the upgraded suit. Also another amazing Hot Toys figure. We just have him in the full suit right now, the upgraded suit. And here it is.
See, that wasn't so hard.
Somebody get this stupid costume off me!
All right, and since we had the Spider-Man figure out, we couldn't resist throwing the glasses on for his triumphant moment of gaining the Edith glasses. Those glasses don't actually come with the Mysterio figure, but I took them out of the box for the Spider-Man figure, the Far From Home figure. They are included in there. If you'd like to see a full review and maybe a little posing session for that figure, we can do that as well. Just leave those requests in the comments below, or send us a message through collectorlevel.com. We do have a contact and submit button. And you know, if there's other figures that you'd like to see, we probably have them, and we'd be happy to do a full review for those as well. And one more wider shot here, so you can get a view of Mysterio without his full cape. All right, so let's take a closer look at Mysterio here, going directly off of our last pose. Fantastic articulation, butterfly joint, double bend, elbows. Be particularly careful of the gauntlet pieces. They are delicate. So I would recommend when changing out hands to make sure that you don't have your hands positioned on the actual rail pieces that run along his gauntlets here. Rather hold in the forearm parts away from it, because I would imagine that enough pressure it would crack those, and that would really not be good. Again, double bend at the knee. Not a lot of ab crunch here at all, obviously because of his chest armor. But he does have a little bit of side to side that you can get. His suit is tight, yet it's pliable. Just be careful that when you're making these adjustments to the back that you don't accidentally pinch any part of the fabric in there, because it could, with enough pressure, puncture it, and you wouldn't want to do that. Full 90 degrees here, I would say. Good head swivel, good move, side to side, obviously real good. I do want to say I just had a little bit of a problem in between the last two poses with his head, and particularly his neck joint. When I went to switch the helmet off, and the piece that holds the helmet in there, it's an attachment to the neck peg. The actual inner piece of the neck pegs was stuck inside of there. So I had to gently take some pliers, pull that out, and then I fused those pieces back so that we won't get any negative effects, but rather we won't have that problem anymore. So it's good now, and it shouldn't be a problem in the future moving those pieces around. But we'll see, because I'm gonna switch for the helmet back on in a second, and I installed the batteries for the light up helmet, and then we'll take a look at that as well. It does have a split cup boot also. I want to mention that. Super glad, because if you get a leg out, you get a little bit more stability, like a real ankle would be. So I'm glad that they didn't skip that. All right, and here we have the head sculpt off and the light up extension inside of the helmet with it completely illuminated. It really looks great. There's a lot of light up features and various hot toys, but I'm not sure that there is another one that has ever been so well executed and so meaningful as it is in this. The way that they made the cloud inside of the acrylic ball. Looks so good. Okay, we've arrived at that point in the video where it's necessary for us to talk a little bit about the things that we use around here to make these videos possible, and to introduce new opportunities for our figures by creating additional pieces or modifying existing pieces to make them even better. So in addition to the Govee light bar that we've used again in this video, I'll put a link in the description below for that. It's the lighting that we've used in order to make the green glow around the video that matches up with the aesthetic of Mysterio, is epoxy sculpt. It's a two-part epoxy. You mix the two parts together, it activates it. One is the actual epoxy and the other one is the activator. It's an A-B part. You mix it up, roll it into a ball, put it into a Ziploc bag, roll it flat, get it to the thickness that you want your piece to be, whether that's an additional armor piece or facial hair. And then the little black pieces that I have up at the front are the actual sculpting tools. One is a very fine detail, the one with the cap on it, and the other one is kind of a pointing tool or a flattening tool, and the other one is kind of like a spreading tool. So I use that to cut off and blend in pieces of the epoxy sculpt to make the facial hair and the additions to the head sculpt, which I'm not done with yet. And then just underneath of that, I have the bodysuit that I'm going to use in order to try to make the mocap suit for Quentin Beck and his Mysterio. Also, it would be impossible to put those batteries in that make the helmet light up without having some precision tool set pieces, both flat and Phillips head screwdrivers in there. I'm going to put links to all of this stuff below, except for obviously the head sculpt piece and the bodysuit. You'll have to find that on your own. But just I wanted to give you kind of an idea of what I was going to be working with. And then lastly, the spider wire. It's fishing line. It's 17-pound fishing line. It's probably overkill, but I really don't want to drop one of my figures and cause damage if I don't need to. So just some simple fishing line, and tie it up, hang it, use it, support it, stuff it, whatever you got to do in order to make that pose work for yourself. So thanks a lot. Check out these items in the description below. And if it makes sense to you to get any of those, we sure would appreciate it. It would help the channel. We're always trying to make good content around here, and wanted to just share a little bit of the things that we use. All right, to wrap it up here, we have Mysterio in one final pose, all lit up with his smoke effects at his feet, ready to go. This is Will from Collector Level, signing out. Enjoy your collection.